Welcome to Caring Community with your host, Jay West. In this community, creative initiatives are welcome. A culture of transformation is normal, and miracles are expected. Welcome to Caring Community.
Hi, welcome to Caring Community. I'm Jay West. Good to have you here. And here's my good friend, Larry Langston.
Well, it's good to be with you today, Jay. It's always great to be around you. You're so optimistic and energetic and full of faith, and it kind of rubs off on me, so I love being around you.
Well, normally I shake hands with my guests, but we're doing this kind of thing this way. If I shake hands with you, my arm's going to disappear, and yours is too. So for the guests who are wondering, why isn't he shaking hands and why do we have a different set? It's because we're actually down in Houston, Texas, filming this and putting it together. And Larry is a great friend. He's authentic. He is sincere. He is kind. He is very, very generous. He loves people. He loves God. And that's the kind of person I like to hang around with. I actually don't remember how we met, though. I think we met on social media. Do you remember how we met?
It is correct. I was just browsing through Facebook and saw you, and your lovely wife had passed, and I sent a message of condolence, and along with that felt the word about acceleration happening in your life at this difficult moment. And I did not know that several other people were telling you the same thing, that
Right.
Even in the midst of transition, acceleration was coming in your life. And wow, that certainly has been the case.
Yeah, it sure has. So acceleration has happened in multiple ways. So we won't go into that today because the show's not about me today. It's about you. But I'll do a personal glimpse of me sometime in the future, which occasionally I do when I can't get a guest.
Yeah.
So anyway, or one cancels. So
There you go.
so we're down here in Houston, Texas, and Larry is he has his own television ministry, his own television show that he funds, that he produces, that he films, and we're using his equipment today to film this. Tell us a little bit about the vision for Best TV, right?
Best Life TV
Best Life
Network
Okay.
is a Christian ministry streaming television network. We're on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and of course on our website. And there's a phone app, Best Life TV Network, that you can download on the App Store for your iPhone or Android phone. And then with just touch of a button, boom, you can watch our live TV program, our video on demand, which I love. And then, Jay, what I'm just totally excited about is our program is available to 6 billion cell phones around the world. And you have a program there. We do a program called Supernatural Ministries. And then I have a program called Jesus is the Answer. And of course, numerous other people are programming there with us as well. So Best Life TV and radio network, just going around the world now for the glory of God and to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it's just amazing. It's like, you're the first person I've ever known personally who's gone out and started a TV ministry. I've met people who had TV ministries. I was on Daystar as a guest. I've been on Trinity as a guest. And obviously I've been on your show as a guest several times now. And you're just so generous to put me out there. And it's just a blessing to know you and to see how you operate. He operates very with integrity, with godliness, with patience, a standard of excellence that's beyond my own personal standard of excellence, at least when it comes to TV. And he's just really good at what he does. But give us a little history about the vision for this, how you got the vision, and then your first steps. What were some of the first things you did?
Well, to be honest with you, Jay, my friend, I did not have an ambition to start a streaming radio network. I had a dear friend by the name of Kenneth Mitchell, and he and I were networking. He had run a radio streaming service for many years on the radio network. And he had interviewed so many, 865 or so Christian leaders, anyone that was anybody. Missions Radio was the name of it. He had up to 25,000 viewers. And it had kind of gone by the wayside. And so I volunteered to jump in and help him reactivate Mission Radio and put a radio service in India, Philippine Islands, the Caribbean, here in the U.S., And we've begun that process, and we're on radio now 24/7, and it reaches the world. But in that process, I woke up to the fact that we could also stream TV signals as we are now. And so we launched Best Life TV Network a little over a year ago. I spent about 70 hours a week in producing and editing and putting everything together. I was the only person involved, and it was very labor intensive. I tell people it was a Mount Everest learning curve, but I did make it.
Well, and I know the work that just today we've done. This is our 5th broadcast today, and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And now we didn't start right on time early this morning. It was still a lot of work to put down together each broadcast. And I know just doing it when at home, when I go to the studio there and record, it takes some work and stuff. So, and to secure guests and then edit and then, put in people's names and their websites and all those kinds of things that you got to do, and filming, get rid of all the shadows and make sure the lighting's right, and technology after technology. Sometimes it's simple and sometimes it's very difficult. So you do an excellent job. And do you have any idea? Now, how long have you been doing it? Like a year and a half?
About 13 months.
Okay.
Jay, 13 months. And I have to give honor to Kenneth Mitchell. I'm just starting out. I know nothing. And Kenneth is a master at this. And he said, so buy this particular software, the editing software. And when I first opened it up, I'm looking at it like I'm in astonishment. I'm shocked. It's like, how does this work? What do I even click on first?
Right.
And Kenneth mentored me every step of the way, and until I could totally produce a program myself from start to finish with some degree of professionalism and excellence. And when I had just finished learning practically all I needed to know, although there's always something to learn, Kenneth died from a massive heart attack one morning. And I am just humbled and forever eternally grateful. I was his last assignment, and he was so faithful to coach me and help me. And I would often thank him. And his response was, Larry, I'm here to serve those who serve. Right. What a testimony, what a witness. And may God use you and me, Jay, to help to bless those who are serving the kingdom of God.
At age 65, and you're a little bit older than me, sometimes I look at technology and computers as being challenging, being difficult. We have a new, just at King of Kings, where I'm on staff, we have a new computer technology called Planning Center. And I'm learning Planning Center. And sometimes I find it easy, and sometimes I find it super challenging. And I'm trying to navigate it, trying to figure it out. And it's just, it's like sometimes I have to go and ask for help. I just can't quite get it, And there's some other computer programs that they're using that I have no idea how to access them, how to implement them, how to strategize with them, and so on. But once we learn them, they'll be good. And so they often say you can't teach an old dog new trick. Well, guess what? You can. Okay. And I'm not saying I'm old. I'm younger than Larry. I'm not saying he's old. He's younger than his wife. I think you said that. And we won't say how much younger, but he's a little bit younger. So anyway, they're a great couple with great vision. I mean, who goes out at age, had to be 69. He went out at age 69 and started a TV ministry. I mean, who does that? I mean, just most people at age 69 are kicking back on the golf course and taking trips and doing all this stuff. And speaking of trips, you went to the Philippines twice this year. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was there in March, and we visited some of our child development centers and did a minister summit with 232 of our pastors. And then I just returned. I was there in June, and we had the 36th ministry celebration anniversary there. Just a great meeting with about 1,700 attendees. And then we went on to, that was in Cagayan de Oro, Mindanao. And then we went to Negros and did a minister summit with 200 pastors and leaders. And that was a wonderful time of mentoring and encouraging our leaders there. And then a special events. I got to visit 13 of our 33 child development centers where we feed highly nutritious meals, teach the Word of God. These children are learning to worship. They're learning to pray. They're learning to understand God's Word and speak in public and social interaction. And then a key part, Jay, is that every Saturday, our team mentors the parents. And that combination has been so productive over the years. And I love seeing the kids and encouraging them.
Maybe you'd be willing to put your website on the bottom of the screen as you edit this before you send it to my supervisor. What's
Sure.
Networker there?
Producer.
Couldn't think of the word. So anyway, if you could send that, and it'll already be there, so when we air this, people can contact you
Sure.
if they want more information.
Sure.
I know you're a busy guy. You got so much vision. You got so much energy. So give us a little history, what you did before pre-TV.
Well, how far back do you want to go?
Well, let's stop at the absolute age. No, I'm teasing. I don't know. How long have you been married? Let's start with that one.
Well, you are going back. Well, my wife and I have been married 52 years.
Wow, that's a
And
milestone.
I've been in the ministry 53 years. I actually left home at age 17 and started traveling and doing revivals. And then I went to school and seminary and got a master's and later got a doctorate. And we pastored a number of churches throughout the U.S. And then in 2000, I pastored for 25 years. Then in 2000, we started working overseas, specifically in the Philippine Islands. And God has helped us to see over 100 churches planted and so many people come to know Jesus, humanitarian outreaches. At the present time, we're feeding 5,000 meals a week to underserved and undernourished children. And the exciting thing is that these children grow up to become ministers, pastors, worship leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, realtors, ship captains, all because of nutrition and people that care. And my hat is off to the young men and young women who teach so effectively in our child development centers there. And we have so much vision going into next year. We're looking at corporate donors to jump in and be helpful to us. And wow, we have a farm there where we raise crops for our humanitarian efforts. And there is no gift too small that is not appreciated, and no gift so large that we don't already have a plan for it.
That's amazing. So you feed 5,000 meals a week. Is that what you
Yes,
said?
exactly.
I had no idea there was that many. I know we talked about it before. I'd lost track of the numbers. So that's just incredible. He's so low key. I've never heard him ask me for money. Maybe he asked other people. And
I was going to do that later today.
Yeah, you're gonna. Before you take me back to my hotel, you want to ride or give me a check, the debit card. So yeah, so it's cool to do that. And again, the website will be on the bottom if you want to learn more about Larry and what he's doing, helping people around the world. There's some incredible stuff. And I know you do some podcasts or some TV stuff to Pakistan too, and he uses technology a lot. He's very good at it, very wise at it, and has a lot of insight, which is really cool, really helpful. So tell us something else about, well, let me ask you this. What was your doctorate in?
Well,
and where'd you get it?
Theology, Southeastern University, Kissimmee, Orlando, Florida. I would just like to give honor to the Lord. You know, my father was a minister. My grandfather was a minister. All of my uncles and cousins were in the ministry. And people used to say, well, you know, your father's a minister, your grandfather is, you're going to be a minister. And I said, no, I'm not, because I had a front row seat to the ministry. And it's so rewarding in so many ways, but challenging. But it was called by God. It wasn't a conscious decision. I was called by God at an early age, in fact, the age of 9. And then at the age of 17, I was revisited with that call. And of course, I was educated in the local church, which I think is one of the best places to learn how to serve, is in the local church. And I assisted my father. He was a church planter, and we planted churches throughout the Southeast and the southern part of the United States. And actually, from about age 10 up, I was there helping. He was either building a new building or remodeling a building or planting a ministry from, we say scratch. That means my dad, my mom, my brother, and I, just the 4 of us, would go into a city and plant a new ministry. But God has just been so faithful. But Jay, what's so exciting? And one of the things that some of my friends in the Philippine Islands, they say, you have such passion and you have such energy and you just motivate us so much. You're 70. Well, I feel like about 45, but you know, the energy, Jay, is that Jesus, Jesus is truly the answer.
Right.
Our world is filled with chaos and confusion and distrust and feelings of betrayal. People are anxious, they're worried about the future, but Jesus brings peace to the troubled heart. And what motivates and energizes me is every day I know there are people who have unmet needs, but Jesus is the name of our program, but it's so true. Jesus is the answer for the world today.
Well, we were talking earlier about burnout. Remember that?
Yes,
And
yes.
so many pastors, I think the percentage is over 50% now, they're resigning every year.
Mhm.
There's so much burnout. And I was sharing with you, I said, honestly, I've been in ministry now for 43 years. So I've had some low spots, like when my wife died or whatever, but I have never experienced burnout.
Mhm.
And in fact, I'm 65 now,
Mhm.
and my job is increasing. I'm doing more. I'm 5 years behind you in age, and you're doing more. And I know I have friends that are retiring, and that's fine if that's what they feel called to do. And they've worked hard, and they deserve that if that's what they feel led to do. But for me, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Retirement for me is an American culture, but not a biblical one.
Mm.
And so I just feel like this is where God has me. This is what He has me doing. I walked into a church just to find a church home, and I got hired 2 months
There
later.
you
They
are.
created a job that didn't exist. I wouldn't have accepted that job if I thought I was going to retire within 1 year at age 65. So the goal here is to do what you see God doing, and follow Him in His leading and His guiding. Don't you agree?
You're exactly right. And you mentioned why are some pastors burning out? I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Not to be simplistic, but to be factual. The joy of the Lord is our strength. And enthusiasm just simply means God in you. And I wake up every morning, I'm tightly scheduled every day of the week except one that I try to spend with my family and relax and rejuvenate. But I'm tightly scheduled every day, and sometimes I have 12 or 14-hour days.
Right.
And I get up early in the mornings. But I'm just excited. I'm enthusiastic about what God is doing.
Right.
God's blessed me with the gift of administration and time management. And I recognize it's a gift that God gave me. And of course, I've studied and tried to add to the talent that He gave me in that area. But I have so much energy, and I'm so excited about what God's doing around the world. We have churches through Blessed Hope Christian Community Churches International. I serve as the international pastor of this beautiful group of people. We have churches throughout all Mindanao, Negros, Dubai, Canada, the U.S., and we just have more and more to do. There's such momentum. And if I can quote a couple of Bible verses, Joel chapter 2, verse 28, our Father God said, in the last days, I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh. And we're seeing revival, outpourings of the Holy Spirit, and people coming to consciousness of God and knowing that He's the answer for their life all over the world. It's like rain falling, and it's like God pouring out His Spirit.
Right.
And He went ahead and said that your sons and daughters are going to prophesy. They're going to have spiritual insights and have an answer toward the future and a strategy for today. That's what we need.
Right.
We're very disappointed sometimes when we feel that leaders that should have answers for our society don't seem to have the answers.
Right.
But your sons and daughters are going to have prophetic insights and answers for the seasons that they are in. And young men are going to have visions. They will have spiritual insights. And older men like Jay and myself will have dreams. We still have visions and dreams and prophetic insights during the night. And retire? My goodness, that is depressing to think about. If you and I laid down all of our responsibilities right now, what would we do?
Right.
I can't play enough golf. I can't go fishing enough. I can't do enough water sports that could ever begin to feel the responsibilities that we sense we have in the Lord, but yet bring so much energy and joy to our life.
One of the things, and the phrase you used earlier was spiritual intelligence, and God gave us a mind to think with. Okay, He didn't give us a mind to just shut it down at a certain age and no longer just play games, play cards, play bridge, go golfing, go bowling, play tennis. I love tennis as much as the next person. And I could see myself doing that for a month or two. But I think after a while, I'd get tired. Not tired from playing, but tired of, hey, there's something else to do, another book to write, ministry. I think I'd miss it. And in fact, I know I'd miss it. And I don't have a call to retire. Again, if you're our age and you have a call to retire, God bless you. We're not saying it's wrong. We're just telling you our story. We're just sharing what God is doing in our lives. And so, Forbes magazine did a study recently, and it came out and it said your most productive years were aged, I believe it was 55 to 70. That was your most productive years. Your second most productive years were 70, 75, and then below that, And so it's interesting, we think of our most productive years as being in our 20s or 30s. But there's a book written by Bob Buford called Halftime. And the first half of the book, when we're young, we look for success. As we get older, we look for significance. And we got a halftime, and it's time to go reevaluate and see what God's doing. And I'm just really impressed with you. You started a TV ministry, a radio ministry. It takes work. It takes effort, feeding 5,000 people a week. It takes work and effort, fundraising, just all sorts of things that are behind the scenes that most people are just not aware of and don't even want to be aware of, And you're a go-getter, and you're a shaker and a mover, or a mover and a shaker, however they say it. And I'm glad I met you. I'm glad I met you. I'm glad I know you, and I can see value in it. And I just want to say, if you're watching today on Caring Community, and you're thinking, man, I'm getting older. I wonder what I'm going to do when I get to be retirement age. Well, maybe what you're going to do is postpone your retirement age. I have a friend, he's down in Florida. His name is Ray, and he has a software development company, and he was behind the times. Other companies were passing him up 2 years ago, and he reevaluated his whole computer software company, and I think he's 71 now, and relaunched it under a new name, and they're just doing fantastic. And he gave all his employees opportunity. He met with each one of them. He said, if you don't want to stay with me in the new vision, I'll help you get a new job. But if you do want to stay, I'll work with you hard. And a few decide to go, and he helped him find new jobs. And he's like 70, 71, and redeveloping the software company. He's a strong believer and loves Jesus like you and I do. And but he just said, I'm still competitive. I've still got something to give to society. I've got something that'll bless other people. So you may be watching and say, what can I do? How can I serve? Well, maybe it's not doing something that we're doing. Maybe you're not going to launch a computer company or a TV show. But maybe you can go serve at the soup kitchen. Or maybe you could go help another ministry. Or maybe you could help volunteer somewhere and make somebody else's life a little bit better. Don't just curl up. And I realize some of you are saying, but I worked hard to get to where I'm at. Great. I'm happy for you. Thankful that you did that. But if maybe you got a book to write, a painting to paint, a song to create, a sculpture to create, whatever, something new that doesn't exist today. And you can be a great blessing to other people. We got about 4 minutes left. Do you have anything on your heart that's just resonating or?
Well, I am thinking, Jay, when you talked about people may be searching for something they can do to be productive. Sometimes it's just reaching out to one person. Recently, a gentleman was going into a coffee shop, and he saw a homeless guy counting his coins to see if he had enough money to go into the coffee shop. And this gentleman said, come go with me. I want to buy you breakfast. And so the homeless man went in with him. They sat down, they had coffee, they had a breakfast sandwich, and they swapped stories, and they got to tell each other about who they were and their background and all these things. And in conclusion, the homeless man said, well, I've got to be honest with you. I've been so despondent and depressed. I had decided today I would take my life today. I can't keep living like this, but you have showed me such human kindness, and you show me that there are people who truly care. I got enough energy to keep living.
Right.
My friend, it's a cup of coffee, it's a breakfast meal, it's a kind word, it's a card, it's a phone call. Please let somebody know today you love them.
Right.
Oh, and if there's any offense in your life, if you're not talking to a member of your family, maybe they're not talking to you, but call them today and say, I just want to call and say hello. I miss you. I'm thinking about you. Repair the bridges, because when the bridge is out forever, there's no remedy when they pass on.
I have a friend named Tony, and I met him 14 years ago, and he was going to commit suicide the day I met him.
Wow.
And he actually was holding the revolver in his hand, and his girlfriend came by and said, "There's this guy, Jay West, he's doing a kind of a healing service at a local church. You want to go to it?" And Tony looked at the guy and said, "Well, I can kill myself this afternoon." And he went to it. He had 5 herniated discs. He came into the service. God supernaturally healed his 5 herniated. He was in so much pain, he had to drag 1 foot behind him. And the reason the medicine didn't work was he was addicted to street drugs, meth, cocaine, LSD, and some other things. He'd been hooked on it for 10 or 12 years. He got supernaturally delivered of street drugs that day too, turned his life around and committed to Jesus. I shared his story in a brief way at King of Kings where I now work. And Tony was in the audience hearing me that day. I had him stand up. He got a big round of applause. But he literally was going to commit suicide that day. And one person, not me, his girlfriend said, "Why don't you come with me to this thing?" So that's why I'm bringing it up. You can make a difference, one person at a time. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. How do you change a city? 1 person at a time. And so maybe you're not developing a TV ministry. Maybe you're not reestablishing a computer software company, but maybe you're taking a pie next door to your neighbor. Maybe you're mowing your neighbor's lawn. Maybe you're just helping somebody who you don't even know push their cart out at the grocery store. But you can make a difference, and you can be a blessing in your community. And watch what God does. Watch what God does. That's what caring community is about. We're a caring community. We want to see aspects and ways to care for other people. So Larry, I just want to thank you for coming. Normally I shake hands, but if we do that, our arms are going to disappear on the screen. So thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for filming it with me down here in Texas. And I'll send it to you when it's done. I'll send you a link. And for those of you watching Caring Community today, I'm always looking for good guests. So if you want to contact me, anointedtogo@cox.net. If you think you got a good story, you want to be a guest on my show, I'd love to talk to you. And we'll put that on the screen as well. And thanks for tuning in. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.